Hi everyone. Besides the 67th session of the United Nations General Assembly in New York City, the main topic of my video today will be about the presidential elections in the United States. First, I'm really glad that I have followed 60 Minutes last Sunday. I have been looking forward to see answers of both President Obama and Governor Romney to many issues. I was glad to follow the posts of Mayor Bill White, who was the 2000 candidate for the Texas gubernatorial elections, regarding that. Mr. White, thank you. I really liked several comments and debates on the threads following your posts on your page. Governor Mitt Romney have expressed many positions that could obstruct a thinking process of change that started back since President Barack Obama took office. I think Mitt Romney have not assimilated the harmful impact towards the human factor that was working in his several companies, neither the economic regression of the state of Massachusetts in terms of jobs creations. I don't speak about the outsourcing. I mean, the only way to save the US is to continue with President Obama's strategy. I mean, failure to do so will mean concretely that the Federal Reserve will print and put into the markets and the Main Street the green bills and will come back due to inflation. We will come back one day, rather to the gold standard, the silver standard, the bronze standard, if not the copper standard, and live onto a pre-8065 lifestyle, and this can happen maybe way before next decade. So why the Obama's plan will prevent that? First, the project of creating 1 million manufacturing jobs by 2016 and the creation of tax breaks for investors in order to give them the chance to invest wisely inside of the US. That's the thing that people are needing right now. The Republican may have had great days. It's not the case in the present moment. In these hard economic circumstances, where basically we need only exceptional and experienced political leaders in DC, uh, it's not the wisest choice. That's also being reasonable and speaking in a democracy. I came to this country to better my life. Personally, I will get back onto that soon enough. Now I'm asking here America to wake up and support President Obama, who worked for 4 years with giant steps, and there is no time to stop what have been built. This is becoming very serious. Thanks. My second topic that I want to talk about today is going to be about the authoritarianism as a political regime. Indeed, this has been a factor that has defined many countries during the 20th century. Many countries has been defined currently and historically due to plenty human rights violation by both the International Court of Justice and the International Criminal Court that are both seated in Den Haag in the Netherlands as authoritarian regimes. Among the ones that could be mentioned historically and actually the People's Republic of China, Spain under Franco, the Kingdom of Hungary under the regency of Miklos Horthy, the Republic of Zimbabwe under Robert Mugabe. Many countries in Asia, I mentioned Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, Uzbekistan, Tajikistan, and Turkmenistan. Of course, the Arab Republic of Syria under Bashar al-Assad. There's no need to invoke what's occurring right now in Syria. We just have to remember that the regime of Assad's family has been ruling this country for more than 4 decades now. And just to mention that Hafez al-Assad, before his death, has been ordering the execution of 9 of his closest collaborators only a few days before he deceased in 2000. I don't speak about all what happened between 1971 and 2000. Formerly, Libya was among them countries before, of course, outseen Muammar al-Gaddafi. So we should not forget neither Cuba and North Korea in this list of the list of communist pro-USSR idioms, authoritarian forms of government. The authoritarianism can be defined onto different type. It could be an enlightened absolutism. It can be a military dictatorship. It can be a military junta. It could be also seen as a totalitarianism branch through fascism, the dictatorship of proletariat, and theocracy. Regarding a next topic that I want to invoke after politics, it will be sports, of course. That's one of my favorite topics, like I have invoked. Let's get back, of course, to it. Too early to speak about the NFL so far in the season. The FIFA World Cup 2014, the road to Rio, is what I'm going to cover today, with the result of the United States in the qualifications so far. They are tied as co-first in Group A of the CONCACAF third round with Guatemala and Jamaica. Each team have 7 points. 2 more games left in October, and only the first two teams makes it to the final qualifying round that is known in North America as El Hexagonal. USA plays in Antigua and Barbuda in October the 12th. Then 4 days later, in Kansas City versus Guatemala to conclude this round. Regarding the history of the finals of the US in the FIFA World Cup, there has been 9 appearances. The first one was in Uruguay in 1930, the first World Cup. The US made it to the semi-final. That was their best appearance. Of course, there was only a group of 3 where they have won their both games. Their superstar at the time was Patenaude, and they lost the semi-final by a big score, 6-1 to Argentina. USA came back to the World Cup 4 years later in Italy. They lost the first game, the first round versus Italy, the host nation, 1-7. After World War II, USA came back to appear on their third World Cup in 1950, which was the first World Cup after World War II. They exited from the first round again, but 2 defeats versus Spain and Chile, but a historical win versus England 1-0, what by the goals of Plashams. Many have called that game the miracle on grass, but I believe that the US played better and they deserved to win that day against England. After that, there has been 4 years draw for the US appearing on the FIFA to appear in the FIFA World Cup finals. The next one will be 1990. The USA will go to Italy for their first appearance, but that first appearance since 1950 was not that fruitful. 3 losses versus Italy, Czechoslovakia, and Austria. Even though the World Cup was very well preparatory stage before the following one that was hosted in the US in 1994. First game, a very encouraging game versus Switzerland, a tie 1-1. It was a free kick of Eric Winalda for the US. Then a win against Colombia 2-1. Ernest Stewart scored. Escobar against his own team scored for the US 2-1. They lost the last game against Romania but made it to the last 16, the first time to make it onto the second round since 1930. That was a loss on the 4th of July 1994 versus Brazil of Romario and Bebeto 0-1. Brazil will be the team that will win the World Cup that year. 1998, the following appearance was not as good. 3 losses again versus Germany 0-2, versus Iran 1-2, and versus Yugoslavia 0-1. 2002 was a good memory as the US started a stunning way by beating Portugal 3-2. Then another great game, tie-in with South Korea hosts 1-1. They lost to Poland but made it to the second round to face Mexico. And during that game, USA made a great performance by winning 2-0 and made it into the quarterfinals where they will face Germany. Unfortunately, they lost that game 1-0. It was nevertheless the second best appearance of the US after 1930. The team was led by London Donovan, who did really a great job during that World Cup. 2006 reappearance for the US and Germany, and this time was not as good. Defeat 3-0 versus the Czech Republic, tying with Italy 1-1 before losing to Ghana 1-2 and exiting with a small tiny points. South Africa 2010, the last one under Bob Bradley, and a very brilliant first round, a tie with England 1-1. 2-2 versus Slovenia before beating Algeria 1-0. The goal of London Donovan, who has led really a great generation for the US in his third World Cup there, and qualified them for the second time of his career to the second round of his World Cup participations. Unfortunately, it was not a very easy game. It was a loss against Ghana 2-1, and the US now prepared under Jurgen Klinsmann for other challenges, of course, reaching the semis in order to equal the performance of 1930 will be the best result. But for that, for right now, it's a very long path to achieve. But just focusing on the qualification in order to get to that is the main thing that the US player has to think about. Well, thank you for your attention and listening. Have a great week and a great weekend as well.